my heroes in the fitness world, and I'm so excited to have him, and doing a special giveaway as well today. So if you DM me or if you share this, however many times, I want to give away a special Be Disruptive shirt to anybody in this group, especially the person who's the most active, asks the most question, gives the most support. Again, I want to give away a free Be Disruptive shirt, and I want everybody to give like so much love to Ben, because I'm going to invite him onto this group chat with me, and we're talking specifically about longevity today. A topic that I'm just like so stoked to talk about, because it's just not talked about enough. You know, there's all these like quick fixes or like fad diets that come up, and like what I'm really passionate about, I know Ben is as well, is talking about like how do we have like longevity, not just like be healthy for a week or like lose a lot of weight in a month, but like how do I have like a long-term health and wellness, you know, so I can feel my best, look my best, live my best life for the rest of my life, not just for like a week or a month, you know. So I'm going to bring Ben on here, and again, the more love and support you guys give, I want to give away a special Be Disruptive shirt to the person who gives the most love and support and shares this. So I'm going to bring on Ben right now, so just make sure and give him a ton of love, and ask us questions. We're here for you, you know, and I have some really powerful questions that some people already asked me before we started, but we're one especially, you know, so, but if you have any, we're going to be looking on this the whole time, and answering them. Ben, what is up, man? Brushing your teeth. All right.
Oh.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're amazing. This is why I love Ben, because he's so authentic. You know, like he's so authentic, just like, I'm going to brush my teeth, you know, like in an interview, like, yes, that's amazing.
I had to brush my teeth. There's a time of day that arrives at some point where one must brush their teeth. You know, I had popcorn cauliflower in my teeth. I just took my son to farmer's market, and I had popcorn cauliflower, which is basically the equivalent of buffalo wings, but they're like cauliflower instead.
Oh,
they're amazing.
Yeah. That is, well, part of longevity, right? If you want to have healthy teeth for the rest of your life, you probably should brush them a couple times, you know?
You know, speaking of longevity, a lot of our ancestors, you know what they did? They would use like twigs, apple, and like any tree that grows like a stone fruit, they would use twigs to pick their teeth. And the other thing you see in Ayurvedic medicine is coconut oil pulling. So what I do is in the morning, there goes my son. He does this too.
Yeah.
We oil pull for about anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, which gets rid of all the bacteria and stuff in your teeth.
Okay.
And then I only brush my teeth once a day, you know, usually with like charcoal, good and natural. So started doing something new. I'll show you if I can find, oh, here we go. So this plant over here, I grow this plant.
Okay.
And they call this plant the toothache berry because it makes these little berries. This is a plant native to Hawaii, but the last time I was in Hawaii, I found it. The berries look like this, and you can eat them, and they kill all the bacteria in your mouth. It's like a party in your mouth. They fill it with saliva, and so what I did was I blended a whole bunch up, and then I melted it into coconut oil. So now I do coconut oil pulling in the morning with like an oil that's infused with these little berries, and it just, your mouth feels sparkling clean all day long.
See, that's what I love talking to you so much, because even me, right? Like, I'm so into the health and wellness world, but it wasn't until recently that I even switched toothpaste. You know, like so many things, whether it's like lotion, hair products, toothpaste, like that's been a more recent thing for me. And I think a lot of people would love to hear more about like what are some of the other like very natural things that can help with longevity that we can use, you know, as like replacements of like a lot of the lotions or the aerosol sprays or the toothpaste. Like, is there anything that you recommend? Because I think that's something that just isn't talked about enough, that like our skin is our largest organ on our body. So it would make sense that we should probably put natural stuff on it.
Yeah. Your skin is your largest organ. Your skin is a mouth, although I have yet to get full from smearing ice cream on my stomach. And your skin is also your largest detoxification organ. So not only do you detox through your skin, but you also can retox through your skin. So I don't think it is any secret that there are directories out there that give you a whole bunch of natural care products. Probably the best one is the Environmental Working Group's website, EWG, Environmental Working Group. What I personally do is I've got, during the day, for like a moisturizer, for the longest time, I used extra virgin olive oil, which is fantastic because it's got a bunch of flavonols and polyphenols. It's wonderful for your face. You smell like a giant Italian pizza all day long.
Uh-oh, we're working on
But yeah, that's really good. And what I do now, this is going to sound like a shameless plug, but it's what I do, is I developed a skin serum. It's like this anti-aging skin serum. It's got 12 different essential oils in it, everything from oregano to jojoba to there's even a little bit of patchouli in there, not enough to make you smell like a hippie, but just a little bit. And so I do that every day, and then I do a clay mask 1 or 2 times a week. There's this company called Alitura out of LA. They have these clay masks, and they're like colostrum and this nice organic clay, a bunch of other stuff that cleans out the pores on your face. When you wipe that stuff off, you're not only like radiant and glowing, but you feel like this uplift in your personality. Like it just makes your whole body feel good.
Where do I get this stuff? I want it.
Alitura. Alitura.
Oh, wait, no. I just started using them because another friend of mine told me about it, and I love it. Like, and that's something I'm really passionate about talking more about, is because especially, you know, as an actress, I'm constantly, like I was just on a movie today, and they're like pounding all this makeup on my face, and different, like, you know, wipes or cleaning things that have all these chemicals in it, and knowing that there's these companies now that are, you know, being really disruptive and making things out of really natural products that you can even eat, right? Like they said that you can't eat it, you probably shouldn't be putting it on your face or your skin. I love it.
There are fruits like avocado and papaya that you can mix with oatmeal and put on your face as well. There are entire recipe books full of foods that you can eat and also smear on your face. But probably the biggest tip I can give people is go to the EWG website, Environmental Working Group website. There's a big list there of what's good and what's not for your skin. But my own personal protocol is, you know, just for like, you know, the neck up, is I do the oil pulling in the morning, the brushing with like a good natural, either a charcoal base or like on it makes a good MCT oil based toothpaste. It's like a really tasty cacao mint flavor. And then do the skin serum in the morning and the evening. And then 1 or 2 times a week, I do the clay mask. And then I'm in the infrared sauna. That's the window to my gym up there. I just have a giant infrared sauna. And I go in the sauna almost every day, either in the morning or in the evening, because that's the best way to detox through your skin, but also a good way to get a lot of glow and a lot of almost like capillarization is what you call, like an increased nitric oxide delivery to the skin, so you glow a little bit more as well.
Your skin really looks amazing, by the way. I'm like looking at it being like, wow. Even from last time we talked, it like it even looks better than I remember.
Well, awesome. You know what? I did also, I went to a stem cell clinic because I'm big into using stem cells for anti-aging, and I know those are expensive. I'll tell you a couple things you could eat that will enhance your own endogenous stem cell production for longevity, and also probably the one biggest thing you can do for your stem cells in a second. But there's a company in Park City, Utah. There's also one in Florida. My wife's going down to the clinic in Florida in August to do this, but they do a full like cosmetic treatment with stem cells for your face and for your hairline, literally just like injecting young cells into your skin. So that's another thing you can do, is like cosmetic enhancement with stem cells.
And what was the natural one you were talking about, like the things people can eat right now?
Yeah, so the things you can eat to enhance your own endogenous stem cell production, nature gives us a lot of clues. One is aloe vera, like a good aloe vera juice, like organic aloe vera juice or aloe vera gel. Another one is colostrum, which is like the part of milk that's really concentrated in growth factors that you can get in a capsule or in a powder. I use like a goat colostrum. That's fantastic not only for your immune system, but it's also really good for stem cell production. Chlorella. Chlorella is an extract from algae, like sprinkling that into your morning smoothie, like the crunchy chlorella bites. That's really good.
I love those.
Yeah, they're tasty. I like when I'm on an airplane, I've usually got a bag full of like macadamia nuts and chlorella, and usually like just a little bit of really dark chocolate, and that's my go-to, like my healthy trail mix. A couple others would be, this one kind of flies under the radar, but it really increases your stem cell availability. My friend Darren Olian, who travels all around the world, like hunting down and researching superfoods, he found this one. It's called coffee berry fruit extract. coffee berry fruit extract. And you can buy it just like a bag of it, like powder on Amazon. You can imagine a lot of this you could just put into a morning smoothie, right? Like a lot of this stuff I'm telling you can easily just all get combined into a smoothie. And then there's one other that's interesting, and that would be anything that would be a precursor for NAD. When you age, your NAD goes down a lot, and you can get NAD injections, but there's this tea, like a tea leaf that you can buy also on Amazon. It's called Pouty Arco bark tea. Pouty Arco bark tea, PAUDARCO. And that one's really good for your stem cells. It's also, if people have like candida or yeast or fungus, it's really good for that too. And that's something you can make and keep like in a little jar in your refrigerator and use that as a base for your smoothies, for example. But regardless of all these different superfoods that you use, the number one thing that you can do to increase your stem cells, to enhance longevity, and something that we see, we don't see a lot of these blue zones using a ton of different superfoods or like injecting stem cells or, smearing clay on their face, but they fast. And doing a daily fast for 12 to 16 hours is one of the best ways to increase your stem cell availability. It's got a host of other kind of benefits, but a daily 12 to 16 hour fast where you finish up, dinner, you set your clock for at least 12 hours, say you finish dinner at 9, and you say, I'm not getting breakfast till 9, and if dinner was really big or the next day isn't that active, you might even not eat until, until like 1 or 2 p.m., like a late lunch. So that's probably one of the most profound things you can do for your stem cells. If you're extremely lean, if you're extremely active, and all the more so if you're an extremely lean or extremely active female, you need to be careful with excessive fasting. You can do it. If you do it, you need to realize that fasting isn't the same as calorie restriction. You can get all the benefits of fasting and just eat like a big-ass lunch or a big-ass dinner and just eat more calories, but still eat them in a smaller feeding window, and you get all the benefits of fasting. So those are a few little tips.
We have a really powerful question actually from guy Zach, who asked question. He asked about telomere, how to lengthen your telomeres, and if there's a certain protocol that you'd recommend with NAD to be able to help lengthen telomeres.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that enhances your stem cell availability will also increase your telomere length, or at least decrease the rate at which your telomeres shorten. So a lot of that stuff I just listed off will help, as will a lot of these foods that are called sirtuin-rich foods. That would be things like blueberry, like a good organic red wine in moderation, dark chocolate, or even like a supplement that has dark chocolate flavanols if you're trying to lose weight and you don't want to eat too many calories from chocolate. Anything that would be like a dark purple, blue, like a dark blackish brown. A lot of those are really sirtuin-rich foods. So that's helpful for telomeres, but lifestyle activities are really important too. It's really interesting that a lot of the stuff that moves the dial from a longevity standpoint or a telomere standpoint, it's mildly uncomfortable, right? Like fasting is one example of that, something mildly uncomfortable. Another example would be sweating every day, like exposing yourself to sauna or some kind of excessive heat at some point during the day, along with some kind of excess of cold. Like that up there, that little house up there has a cold pool in it. And so I keep that pool really cold, and I'll just go jump in there and swim at some point during the day. So I get the cold at some point and then the heat at some point. The other thing would be like sunlight, right? Natural radiation from sunlight in large amounts would be bad for you, but in small amounts can be really good for telomere length. Probably one of the bigger things people don't think about, and this relates to comfort, would be it's easy to go to the gym and do like chronic steady state cardio on the treadmill or the elliptical or the stair stepper. You just kind of can check out and do cardio, but that's actually more deleterious for your hormones, and it doesn't appear to be that beneficial for longevity compared to getting mildly uncomfortable and doing something more intense, and specifically something intense with the legs. So lifting or exercising with the legs, either weight training or high intensity interval training, this would be like, you go to the gym and you do 5 sets of bicycle sprints for anywhere from like 20 to 45 seconds. And then you get off the bicycle and you go do rounds of like squats, deadlifts, and leg press for 3 to 5 rounds, right? So you do that rather than spending your 45 minutes on the elliptical trainer, for example. That type of thing is good for stem cells. It's good for longevity. It's better for just like aesthetics and symmetry and beauty as well, just because you don't get like that skinny fat look for the legs. You instead like develop good toned muscle. But I can tell you that when I quit doing heavy chronic cardio training, which was about 2 years ago, when I quit like doing the Spartan Ultra Beasts and the Ironman triathlons and all that, all my health biomarkers improved. My telomere length increased. My rate of biological aging decreased. And so I switched to all like kettlebells, lifting, and training.
I literally experienced the exact same thing. I grew up thinking I had to do all this cardio and just like run for hours to like be fit and healthy. And it wasn't until I literally stopped that, you know, and did way more focus on training, interval training, and intermittent fasting that I felt like everything, even from a gut microbiome health standpoint, really helps a lot as well. And we actually just got a really great question of how to create more diversity in your gut microbiome. If you had any thoughts on that.
To do what with your gut microbiome?
So she asked about creating diversity and also about like adding in fermented food. That was like a really good way to do that along with intermittent fasting.
Yeah, there's very little evidence that probiotics actually seed your stomach. There's little evidence that they stick around for that long a period of time. It's really interesting. They're like the darling of the gut and the microbiome community when it comes to making a buck. But in fact, they don't do that much. I mean, if you've been on an antibiotic protocol, they can be helpful. If you just have like a complete like nuclear disaster in your gut, meaning it's a bacterial wasteland and you don't have any good bacteria, you could benefit from probiotics. But the fact is, nothing replaces eating a wide variety of fermented foods and then also spending time outside in the dirt or in the soil. You know, like today, I had some sauerkraut with lunch. I usually will have like a spoonful of kimchi or sauerkraut at night. I had a little bit of yogurt with breakfast. My sons and I were out in the yard today digging up some burdock roots. We were out in the soil and the dirt, and my face was kind of close to the earth, so I was getting a lot of soil-based microorganisms. You know, petting my dog on the couch. You know, down there we've got a bunch of goats and chickens. You know, when I have an egg and I crack open the egg, and this sounds gross, but I'm getting a little bit of that chicken fecal matter on the outside of the egg into the alma, like all of that stuff, like that stuff that's kind of more ancestral, that moves the dial for your microbiome more than just like living this pristine, clean lifestyle and taking probiotics.
I love that you brought that up. Like, thank you so much for talking about that. And even I've noticed too, you know, kind of on a different topic, but the same sort of thing, even practicing a lot more grounding, you know, just walking outside every day barefoot has made such a difference in my life as well, and something I don't think enough people do on a regular basis. Like, be barefoot as much as you possibly can, as Ben is right now, you know, like, which is so awesome. So I want to switch over to another thing, because I think so much of longevity too is about cellular health. It's something that I've been really passionate about recently, like studying a lot more into like, you know, if there's any different technologies that you utilize or practice that have helped you on a cellular level.
Yeah, I'll tell you one exercise that you can do, an exercise for your cells, and then I'll also tell you the number one worst thing that people eat for their cells.
I love that.
Let's start with the latter. If you were to walk up to me and you were to offer me a bag of healthy potato chips from Whole Foods or the healthy grocery store, or a stick of or a stick of cotton candy.
Oh, perfect. Super healthy.
I would eat the cotton candy hands down. The reason for that is that I can metabolize sugar, right? Like, I can go for a walk or lift weights or do some jumping jacks or whatever, and my body can burn that sugar. I mean, if I eat a whole stick of cotton candy, I might have to exercise for a little while, and I'm not a fan of like eating to train and training to eat, but at least you can burn the sugar. The oils, that's what comprises your cell membrane, like any vegetable oil.
Yes.
Canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, any of these vegetable oils that are so prevalent, even in healthy packaged foods, it's the worst thing you can do for your cells. I mean, even when you go to a restaurant and you order like this is what I love, like Brussels sprouts, like the fried or the sauteed Brussels sprouts that you get at a steakhouse. I tell them to use grass-fed butter or extra virgin olive oil. If they don't have something like that, I just don't get the Brussels sprouts. So it's a sad day at the steakhouse.
Like, I literally just did, I've done so many videos on this recently of just like literally going to all the different things that you think are healthy, whether it's like organic hummus or organic dressings. And the first ingredient in them is canola oil. You know, it just makes me sick to my stomach because it's like we're all just being fed all these lies if we're not careful and really getting people to understand, like, it's not about saying that you're limiting yourself or that you're missing out on things. It's like, no, my health and my longevity, my long life of like feeling great, looking great for as long as possible is more than worth not getting a hummus that has canola oil in it, or not, you know. And even recently too, I just was told too that even a lot of olive oils, people at restaurants, like they'll say it's olive oil, but it's mixed with canola oil. So just to be careful. And I'm actually really grateful for companies like, one of my favorite ones is Primal Kitchen, that they actually make like all the stuff is very, I feel safe with that. I'm really honestly scared to eat any other oils or dressings or even bars because I feel like they're all packed with, you know, and even like sea snacks. I was so bummed out because I love sea snacks, but it's like sunflower oil is one of the first ingredients. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah. I mean, to their credit, Whole Foods at least uses like an expeller pressed process that's like slightly less damaging to the oil. But ultimately, if you care about your cell membranes, you eat a lot of DHA from fish, you eat a lot of oleic acid from really good olive oil, like spicy dark green olive oil in a translucent bottle. You throw in some other stable fats like grass-fed butter and coconut oil and macadamia oil, and it's so much better for your cells. Now, as far as exercising your cells, there is this would be kind of like more in the biohacking category, but there's a form of electrical frequency. Some electrical frequencies are bad for you, some are okay for you, and there's one that actually opens and closes cell membranes at specific frequencies, and it can increase blood flow to an area. It can cause a little bit of a detoxification of the components of the cell. It can do things like increase bone density, decrease inflammation, and it's called PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic frequencies.
I actually just got really into this as well, and I've noticed such a difference from working on it. Like, I love it. So I'm sorry you're talking about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones out there. I interviewed a guy on my podcast named Dr. William Pollack, Pawluk. He's a really good expert on it, and we geeked out for a while. What I do is I have a PMF mattress called a BioBalance on my bed upstairs, and then I have like this Cadillac of PMFs called a Pulse Center in my basement, and then I have this little travel unit called a Flex Pulse. Like, anywhere you find me, I always have some form of PMF on me because it's useful for everything. Like, if you get a headache, you can use it on that. If you get like a little muscle strain, you can use it on that. If you're jet lagged, you're having trouble sleeping, it does a very similar thing to like walking outside in your bare feet. It's one of the best things, aside from like going outside and earthing and grounding, getting good sunlight, good air, good water. It's like one of the best technologies that's available these days to make your cells more resilient and to detox your cells, to decrease inflammation and increase blood flow.
So awesome. I love that we're so on the same page with this stuff, because I actually just went to an event and got introduced to Pulse and really got on the beds and like tried it out. And actually did an interview with a friend, Amelia, who works with Pulse, and really just learning about how, you know, I love the concept when teaching people. It's like our cells, like we're just like our phones, you know, we need to get plugged in sometimes. And it's like we never really recharge our cells. And like the PMF really great ways to recharge on a cellular level. I thought that was such a great analogy, you know, of like viewing yourself, like you charge your phone every day. How do you charge your body every day, you know?
Exactly. And again, you could go out barefoot, but if you're living in an urban environment and you're inside all day and you want to take that 1/3 of your life in many cases that you're spending in bed and get all the benefits while you're in bed too, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer when it comes to better living through science.
Yeah. I love it. Well, there's so much amazing technology now. Like, why don't we talk about it and use it, you know, in the best way, which I love, love, love. So I think we've gotten so many different questions. If there's anything else that, you know, gone through so many awesome topics, is there anything else that we could talk about that you want to leave people with just on the topic of health and longevity, especially?
Yeah, I'd say the number one tip I can give you is that when we look at these blue zones, these areas of the world where people live a disproportionately long period of time, we see a lot of different things they do, right? Time in sunlight and, you know, drinking red wine or tannin-based teas or, you know, spending time around animals for the probiotics.
Yes.
But there are 5 prevailing characteristics that I think anybody can adopt in their life. One is not smoking, which is kind of a no-brainer.
But so I was literally on a movie, but the last movie I was on, every single person was smoking. I was like, guys, come on now. Like, come on. And
yeah. And I get it. Like, I'm a big fan of nicotine. Nicotine's awesome. I use these little toothpicks. A lot of times you'll see me like at a party and I'll have a toothpick in my mouth. It's almost like I'm smoking it, like it's just nicotine, but I'm not getting all the carcinogens. I still get the pick me up from nicotine though. So no smoking. We also see high intake of wild plant matter. I mean, if you look around me, I have cataloged most of the plants out in the forest on my land, and just in like 10 acres of land around me, I have something that can fix just about any health issue on the face of the planet. And
without prescription drugs too, right?
Without drugs.
Yes.
You know, like just today, my sons harvested a bunch of St. John's wort, like this yellow flower, and we've got that in vodka in a little glass mason jar. And this winter, when, you know, it's a dark gray day outside, we can take a little tincture dropper full of that, and it acts in the same way as an SSRI antidepressant with none of the negative side effects. I mean, we see in so many of these blue zones people accessing wild plants and knowing how to use them. So that'll be number 2. Start to get to know and eat wild plants, and if you can't, at least go to the grocery store and get good organic, like bitter greens, kale, bok choy, cilantro, thyme, parsley, wide variety.
And like you said too earlier, I just want to clarify on the dark chocolate, because I think a lot of people see dark chocolate and they're like, oh, dark chocolate, this is good for me. But to be really careful that a lot of the dark chocolate isn't actually that dark. You know, to always go, at least for me, I always try to go like 85% and above. Yeah. You know, because there's so many brands out there that like dark chocolate, if you look at it, it's like 50%, which it's not really dark chocolate at that point, you know? Yeah. So really people like make sure you look and see on the label. I mean, I think just biggest advice is like learn how to read labels and like learn to know, you know, what I'm actually putting into my body and to care enough to know like that really matters, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah. And on the same topic of food, the third thing you see, this confuses a lot of people, but it's high intake of legumes. And it's not necessarily that like lentils and beans and seeds and nuts have magic in them that keeps you healthy. It's more that the type of carbohydrates they're choosing aren't spiking their blood sugar very much, right? So try to choose things like yams, sweet potatoes, parsnips, carrots, beets, legumes, over and above like, you know, the whole wheat scones in the coffee shop bakery case, or, you know, the packaged carbohydrates or the rice crackers, or a lot of these things that we think are healthy, but that send our blood sugar levels on a roller coaster ride. So that's another thing we see prevalent in the blue zones, stabilization of blood sugar.
Yeah.
Another one is time outdoors, which is, again, kind of a no-brainer, right? Yeah. Just like get outdoors, barefoot, sunlight.
And it makes such a difference. You know, I was saying I was just on a film where I really noticed the difference. Like, I mean, I was in a situation where I had to be pretty much inside in a dark room for most of the day. And I legitimately, you know, was so aware of how much it impacted my health and my well-being. Yeah. Where the first day I had off where I could go be in the sun, it was like I felt like a whole new person. You know, so for people who are watching who might be like, oh, I feel more depressed or more, you know, lethargic, it's like, you might be fine. You might just need to be more outside, you know, and like just take a day to not stress out and just be in the sun, nature, and you'll feel dramatically different just from that. Like, you don't need to go get a depressant drug, maybe. You just need to go get in the sun, you know? Like, yeah. I mean, I know there's some real issues and that stuff happens, but like, I just think talking about the more natural ways to handle things is so necessary right now.
Yeah. Somebody just commented that we should add to a tuna can relish and mayonnaise, and it is mind-blowingly awesome. And before I tell you the last final tip, and then I got to go, I should mention that when I was a bodybuilder, that was like my dinner every night. I would do like 4 or 5 cans of tuna with relish and either mayonnaise or ranch dressing or ketchup. It's amazing. So, just saying, if you want to bodybuild and get big and swole and feel like you're crapping out a straw every morning, tuna.
That's
amazing.
That's the way to do it right there.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last thing is time with family and friends, right? And we see like these cigarette smoking, alcohol chugging, 110-year-old French grandmas, but their social lives are awesome and they have a ton of friends. And this sounds like a depressing way to describe it, but ask yourself, like, how many people in your life would be bawling at your funeral, right? How many people would cry at your funeral? And if you just like have this exhaustive list of like all these close friends and family members and people you have amazing relationships with who would come out and just like be there crying if you died. Or you could ask yourself, whose funeral would you cry at, right? Like, how many people do you love and care for enough that you would go out of your way that much? And so that's the biggest thing you can do for longevity is surround yourself with love. I mean, I tell my boys that the 2 greatest things in life, if nothing else, would be to love God and love each other. And if your heart is full of love, we were reading a book today, and it said, love yourself third, like love yourself third. So we see in the Blue Zones this belief in and love for a higher power, this belief in and love for each other, and then putting themselves unselfishly kind of at the end of that love line. And so, love, life, family, social relationships, that's the best thing you can do.
And I love how, some people might be like listening and being like, oh, okay, these are like, I need my meds, like I need my meds, I need that. This isn't going to work. But it really does if you're open to it. And one of my favorite quotes I just recently heard was that, if you can't see God in all, you can't see God at all, and I just love that so much. And being able to see, when I look at you or I look at another person, I'm like I'm really practiced trying to be so aware of like seeing God in all, and it's been such a life-changing thing for me. And I love studying even, of just the state of being that love can put you in, can really, and one of the new shorts we're making, actually, I'll get you one. It's called I Disrupt with Love. Love is the biggest disruptor, and they showed that both in people that are, unhealthy or terminally ill, people that just love on them like crazy, how much of a difference it makes, I think love is a superpower that we don't utilize enough.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's a perfect place to end.
So too. For people too, like whatever God is to you, somebody just said, I think God can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And I think at the end of the day, like, we're all, I think, love, if we can all just focus on love, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, well, thank you so much for having me on. And for those of you watching, I'm sure we'll do another Instagram Live at some point in the future. If you guys have more questions, you can leave them. I am Ben Greenfield Fitness over on Instagram. If you want to ask me questions over there, go for it. This guy even has an Instagram. What's your Instagram? He's got a bunch of food photos.
Yes.
Go Greenfields.
Go Greenfields. All right, guys. Yeah. Well,
all right.
Well, for you guys, I am sending you so much love, and thank you to everybody who tuned in. And please DM us all the questions you need. We'll keep answering them.
All right. See you later.
Bye.